The air was still heavy with the dust of destruction. But for Scott Summers, known to the world as Cyclops, something far heavier had fallen upon him: the weight of global condemnation. He stood accused, branded a murderer, a terrorist, the man who had shattered a world already teetering on the brink. The death of Charles Xavier at his hands, under the influence of a cosmic entity, was a wound that refused to heal, a narrative etched in fire across every screen, every headline. And in that immediate aftermath, the heroic leader of the X-Men, the steadfast soldier, was gone. In his place stood public enemy number one. This wasn't a slow fall from grace, it was a sudden, seismic shift. The Avengers, once his allies, now hunted him relentlessly. SHIELD, the global peacekeeping force, pursued him with the full might of their intelligence and firepower. To the human population, already suspicious and fearful of Mutantkind, Cyclops became the embodiment of their darkest anxieties, a dangerous, out-of-control being with unimaginable power. He was a symbol of what they believed mutants truly were, a threat that needed to be contained or perhaps eradicated. Yet, in the shadows, another narrative was quietly, then fiercely taking root. Among the mutant population, particularly those who felt disenfranchised, hunted, and abandoned, Cyclops wasn't a villain. He was a desperate leader who had dared to take extreme measures when no one else would. He was the one who had attempted to harness the Phoenix Force, not for destruction, but to reignite the dwindling spark of mutant life, to save them from extinction. In their eyes, the Avengers had intervened, turning a desperate gambit into a tragic catastrophe. The world had seen a madman. Mutants saw a martyr, or at the very least, a pragmatic revolutionary. This period was unlike anything Cyclops had experienced. He had always been a leader, bound by a strict moral code, committed to Xavier's dream of peaceful coexistence. But the dream had, in his estimation, failed. Years of persecution, dwindling numbers, and failed attempts at integration had led him to a stark conclusion. Mutants needed to fight for their own survival, aggressively if necessary. He became a fugitive, yes, but not a solitary one. He gathered a new kind of X-Men around him, those willing to cross lines, to push back against a world that seemed determined to erase them. It was during these fraught, clandestine operations that a defiant slogan began to echo through the mutant underground, spray-painted on walls, whispered in secret gatherings. Cyclops was right. It wasn't just a statement, it was a rallying cry, a declaration of solidarity, and a stark repudiation of the mainstream narrative. It encapsulated the frustration, the anger, and the simmering revolutionary spirit among mutants who felt pushed to the brink. They believed Cyclops had seen the truth, that peaceful integration was a pipe dream, that mutants needed to seize their own destiny, even if it meant becoming the very thing their oppressors feared. This slogan, simple yet profound, transformed the perception of Cyclops from a singular villain into a figurehead, a symbol of a wider movement. It forced the world to confront a deeply uncomfortable question. What if the supposed terrorist was, in fact, a freedom fighter? What if his extreme actions, however tragic their outcome, stemmed from a genuine desire to protect a persecuted minority? The Cyclops was right movement wasn't about condoning the death of Xavier. It was about acknowledging the desperate context, the existential threat that mutants faced, and the belief that Cyclops had correctly identified the need for drastic, decisive action. This era of Cyclops as a hunted leader, a polarizing figure, offered a powerful exploration of heroism and villainy, blurring the lines in ways few comic book narratives ever dared. It wasn't about good versus evil in a clear-cut sense. It was about perspective, about who holds the power to define the narrative, and about the lengths to which a people facing extinction might go to survive. The story of Cyclops in this period compels us to look beyond easy labels. It asks us to consider the pressures that can transform a hero into a pariah, and a pariah into a prophet. It highlights the profound truth that one man's terrorist truly can be another man's freedom fighter, depending entirely on which side of the line you stand and what struggles you have endured. What do you think? Was Cyclops right in his desperate fight for Mutantkind's survival? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation about the complex nature of heroism and the heavy cost of leadership. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the fascinating world of comics and the profound stories they tell.